And I see a username, but I don't see the name displayed along with it.
Are you speaking to me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's
I
okay.
thought
I just
saw
see
the-
C4310, and that doesn't tell me the name. That just tells me the username. That's okay.
Oh, my name is Chris Ford. Right now, I don't even know if I should be in this meeting, but I'm a pair in the social studies department, and they have brought this topic up in our staff meeting this morning, and it sounded interesting, so I thought I would sign on and check it out.
Okay, fabulous. I think I've helped you before, Chris, now that I think of it.
Yeah.
I think I've helped you in like Jeff. Jeff has a health class, and were you helping Jeff?
Yes,
Yes.
I
Okay.
was.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for clarifying, and welcome
Yeah.
aboard, Lance. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, you bet. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys got.
Just the information from Kevin is the really good information. Nothing from me, as usual.
All right.
I'm going to present my screen and get us started. Thanks for joining. And hopefully we can have some ideas walking out of today about how we can think about other ways that kids can showcase learning. And I am going to present my screen here just now. We're gonna go a tab because we do have a video. We do have a video here up now. Oh boy. Give me 30 seconds here.
It's all good.
Thanks for being patient. Can I get a thumbs up from folks if we can see that screen displayed? Thank you. Awesome. So today is all about other ways of students showcasing knowledge, so showcasing learning and mastery of learning targets. So a little bit about the why. Kevin wanted to, first of all, I'm Daryl Beckers. For the folks that are new to us on that call, I'm a learning technologies coach at Blaine.
And my name is Kevin Bross. I'm the achievement coach at Blaine High School. We, Daryl and I got a chance to chat about this work and the name, the 40 ways students can show evidence of learning. We went back and forth on that a little bit. Please don't count all of the ways because I think it started at 44, then it went to 42. We kind of bounced around a little bit, but we arrived at about 40. So that's the goal. A little bit about the background or why we wanted to talk about this topic was at the staff meeting at Blaine High School this morning. We talked about eliminating or removing barriers for students. And there's so many different ways and levels and things that we can do. One of them is finding innovative ways that students can show evidence of learning, as opposed to having all students demonstrate their learning or show their evidence in the exact same way. So we're trying to differentiate a little bit. In addition to that, we also know that like voice and choice, anytime you can give kids choice and a voice in how they demonstrate their learning has a direct impact on motivation.
And I would add that we had access to these resources too by attending it used to be called the TIES conference. It's now called the Impact Education Conference, but TIES is a kind of the hallmark conference on tech integration. And it usually happens in December, but it's just one of those great opportunities to reflect on practice and think about where we're heading.
So one other piece with the why again is looking at unique, innovative, creative ways that students can demonstrate their knowledge. We also know that when we do some of these choice projects and these different ways that they can do that, that they can also increase the depth of knowledge level or the DOK level of the item that they're doing. It increases their cognitive load, which is obviously what we want to do as well. We want students analyzing, we want them thinking, we want them creating. And some of the examples that we'll share go right up the DOK and Bloom's.
So I guess when I think about my most memorable learning, whether it was a high school task or when I have discussed with students in the past, it's been when I've had some choice in that assignment. And I'm sure that doesn't surprise anyone. I can remember very clearly a ninth grade writing assignment that was connected to when I had a chance to decide the topic and then interview my grandfather, which connected to the theme. And I just remember being very invested in that. And these ideas from this menu of options that you're about to see when we explore these resources, this is a chance for us to invite kids up into higher levels of Bloom's taxonomy, higher levels of that depth of knowledge. So we'll be thinking about that when you're thinking about your own teaching and learning context. So I have a chance to work with collaborative teams. I recently was involved with Chanel Galea, her social studies classes, and she had a chance to invite her kids to do an assignment where they were recording a screencast. And when they were doing that, they were sharing out the knowledge that they had. And I just want to share out that link. Actually, I want to just show you the example here. Here comes a video example from Chanel's classes.
From the image below.
So this is a kiddo that's, again, has turned in an assignment in Chanel's class about comparing two different empires.
China. This is the Forbidden City, which is located in Beijing, China. This temple is very important to the Chinese people because back then they would do political rituals, which is very important to the Chinese culture. And it's called the Forbidden City because only the...
So again, I'll switch tabs here shortly to go back. Sorry that it's echoing. My apologies. I'm going to switch over to the other tab to go back to this information. And again, I want to invite you to think. I think the best question that I've received about technology integration was from an old colleague, Ryan, that said, you know, is the best technology integration happening when kids are in charge of the tech or the teachers are? And you're going to see a definite emphasis on student-centered examples of tech integration in these examples. Erin Fallon out of the FACS department is doing an awesome job with students showcasing what they are cooking at home. So during distance learning, when they've had a chance to see some demos, when they've had a chance to see some videos created by the instructor or from other experts, now they are creating these Instagram-like posts with information about how to prepare that recipe. So now you have this student-created knowledge then that's able to be shared as a class, and then maybe they can adapt and use those own recipes in their kitchen. So again, student-centered, having a chance to share out that information along the way, which has been really rich. And I don't say rich just because those pancakes look fantastic. The assessment options that are happening out of Barry Aerosmith in social studies have been really impressive. If we want to take a look at giving students a whole menu, right? So today's topic is 40 ways. I would argue that he's doing, 30 or more here, saying when you are showcasing what you know in social studies, he's giving you a chance to do something like write an obituary of a historical figure. And I just think about that as a dad, that if my kiddo was creating an obituary, you have got to know and understand the context of that person's life well in order to create a really well-polished end product of an obituary. And I just think about how many of these examples that are going to be helpful to that work. As I go to the next slide is the whole table of contents, and I'm going to add in the link eventually when Kevin picks up here shortly. This is a whole list. We're not asking you to get involved with every single one of these, but be thinking about which ones are the closest connected to learning targets, the tasks that you're having kids do to showcase knowledge in your teaching learning context. Also, and we're gonna showcase some of those too along the way. And I'll get you that link to the whole set of slide deck. We'll have this as a part of the playlist for professional development here at Blaine, etc. So one of the things, one of the ways that students can showcase that knowledge is by creating and editing a video. And there are web-based tools. There are tools specific to Macs, which we have an entire Mac lab here at BHS in room 129. We have a few that are going to be soon available out to departments that request them. Some older ones from 129 that we're going to soon distribute. But we also have one dedicated here in the Innovation Center. So don't hesitate to have kids check out this space if you have a kiddo or maybe a small group of kids that want to come down to this space. And WeVideo is one of those ways. Adobe Spark is another. iMovie. And I just want to show to you that, you know, to think about creating a storyboard option for kids to decide how they want to create their video. And I also want to point you in the direction of that there are instructional video resources available on the Tech and Innovation page, which is available at the BHS info page, and I can show you more about where that is. If you're also interested in a Summer Institute availability, the opportunity to create something that you want to work with your students or have the teacher experience before you push out that option to kids, then consider joining us for that Summer Institute. You'll get some more information here when we get staff development resources secured. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. So again, instructional video, another way to be able to do that. Maybe a student is doing that. This is what the Mac setup looks like in the Innovation Center. It's got a high quality mic and the use of iMovie. I have some paper resources waiting for you, but I'm only an email or a visit away from just connecting with you during prep or before, after school, or on a Monday like today to be able to connect with you on how to develop that. Here's a little bit from Kevin about infographic as another means to do that.
Yeah, so we have maybe a couple more here that we're going to share, and then we'll let you click around on that link, the menu, so you can explore the different resources. But I've worked with some collaborative teams who are looking, again, for creative ways for students to show what they know, this is what it really comes down to. There are a couple tech tools. Pictochart and Canva can be used to create infographics, which really are nothing more than a visual representation of some information or data that students might be engaging with. The screenshot on the left side is through Pictochart, and there's all of these templates that are already set up for you, or for students to use, I should say. And I believe that if they would log in with Google, and they are allowed to have 5 free at any given time that they could use. Daryl, if you go to the next slide, I've got a couple examples. I wasn't sure who would be logging on today, so I pulled a health example and I pulled a science example that students have created. And so in the health example, again, the benefit of having students show their learning this way is they've really got to be succinct. They've got to summarize what they know, and that takes a lot. You know, it takes some cognitive ability to take something large and then just boil it down to the meat and potatoes of it. The science example is, well, why use glass? And through their research and their information, they created this infographic. I believe if you go one more, Daryl, there's one more. Genial is another one that also has an infographic tab on it, where students, again, can log in with Google, and this could be their resource to create their infographic.
Another way that students at Anoka Hennepin are sharing what they know is by creating a portfolio. 2 years ago, I had a chance to work with world language teachers and sharing out examples about maybe a proficiency portfolio in language. And this could easily be tailored to a lot of different teaching contexts. I think about in facts and kids in culinary art, showing what they know in terms of knife skills, all the way down to maybe plating. So many options that could be done in a lot of different varieties. One that I've used, a gal named Amelia Yang. I can show, I'll actually just go to a different tab here and go to her portfolio. And I'll go to the I just shared the link to these slides, but I'm going to click into Amelia's example to show you exactly what she did. So we co-created this together. If you remember the trimester 2 years ago when we had 6 snow days in the same trimester, this is when I unveiled this portfolio option with kiddos. It was a great opportunity for kids to create their own Google site. So I just asked students, why did you choose to take language? What are your goals with it? And then we took these digital examples of evidence, thinking about standards-based instruction, thinking about learning targets, thinking about ways that kids can showcase what they know. So here happens to be an example of a weekly check-in called How Was Your Week? And there were 3 more. And you'll see these standards that are listed by the International Society on Technology and Education, but there are also standards specific to world languages. So this is a great opportunity to showcase what she knows in terms of giving a tour of her house, which was another one of the assignments from Spanish 3B, designing an environmental poster. Flipgrid responses. I'm sure many of us on this call are using Flipgrid as a means for kids to respond to prompts, and we can use those prompts to help build that portfolio. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, definitely let me know. There's a whole set of resources. I'm actually going to throw the link in the Meet chat because I think it's one that is really rich, and once people realize that it can be student driven, meaning that it's all been done for you, the work is pretty easy to navigate in terms of starting a page, deciding what's going to go on the page, just like we did here with Amelia. So this is totally achievable in that way. I'm going to switch tabs back, and I'm going to head back to that slide deck. And what you're going to see throughout this link, and I hope that you've had a chance to open up that slide deck and really look at specifically that table of contents, and creating a newspaper clipping is one of those. And you're going to see resources that have been created by the original presenter of this topic from the Impact Education Conference. And I would invite you for the next 5 minutes just to click around to check out what other people have done in terms of showcasing evidence for student learning, thinking about it in your context along the way. So again, I would invite you to think about going back to the table of contents and deciding, where does this most closely connect to learning targets that are coming up for the end of Try 2? Maybe you're already designing for the top of Try 3. And again, I would also invite you to think about, when is a good time to collaborate, to consider inviting me in, Kevin in, maybe it's Jeremy Parker with literacy, maybe it's Tony Booz thinking about designing interventions. How can we help support so that we can really have kids share what they know? And we can give them those menu options. I'm thinking back to what Barry shared earlier, that it doesn't have to be necessarily one way to do that, but maybe you have a menu of options. Kevin, anything else that you want to add before we do an invitation to stay on and investigate a little bit?
Yeah, no, the only other thing would be, if you have creative, innovative ways that you are already currently having students model their learning, show their evidence of what they've learned. I would love to hear about it. I would love that invitation to learn more and hopefully add your ideas to something like this, so we can continue to share them out. One of the things that I feel almost responsible for is the cross-pollination of ideas that within our building and even across high schools. So I'll share this these slides with the other buildings and hope to gain some more insights on what others are doing as well. So thanks for logging on.
Any questions that pop up or ideas that stand out of things that you want to tackle first? I'm going to put the link one more time in the chat. for the slide deck. Feel free to stay on if you have questions or you want to make.
The table of contents is crazy. I mean, when you click on all those, that's very fun.
Awesome. I agree. There's a lot of
I'm a little
avenues.
overwhelmed at the moment to take more on. I feel like I have my interpersonal relationships class, which is kind of like a world language class where the kids have to do a lot of responses, like performance responses.